Hey, everybody, welcome to the Trending Podcast, where we talk about real issues that real estate agents face on a daily, monthly, and weekly basis. I have Heather Witte here. Heather is an incredible agent in Georgetown, Texas, which is just north of Austin, Texas, about 30 minutes. Heather and I have a history, but I'm going to let Heather introduce herself and talk a little bit. Heather, how are you?
Well, I'm good. How are you, Ian?
I'm fantastic. It's a beautiful day compared to how it was in Chicago last week, but we'll talk about that later.
I can't even imagine. Yeah. So I am from Austin. Not originally, but I got here when I was 9 years old. So that was a long time ago. So I've been here since the early 80s and have seen Austin change quite a bit. I got my real estate license in '06. So I've seen several markets here in Austin. And I'm now a licensed broker at Real.
One of the cool things about you saying you're in Austin or you grew up in Austin is that it's true.
Mhm.
There are a lot of realtors that say they're from a place and they're not actually, like, they haven't spent time in the actual place, maybe around the place or going to the place,
Right.
traveling. So I'll give an example. Like, I say that I'm from Chicago, but I was in the suburbs north of Chicago. Like, but I just have to say that because otherwise people won't know where the heck I'm talking about. Right. So if
Right.
I say like Gurnee or Waukegan or Zion, like, nobody knows. So that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So
I grew up in Austin.
that, which is huge, right? So I love that. So yeah, Heather has a lot of intimate knowledge about the area, and with that, she's learned a lot, um, and been able to share a lot of value in real estate with her clients. So there are a couple things that I wanted to talk about. First, I wanted to say, do you remember? I know I've told you this 1,000 times. How
I don't know, Ian. I'm a little old. I don't remember much.
how we first met, or how I came across you? Do you remember that?
I know you hosted an open house for one of my listings.
Yeah.
My memory of the interaction's a little different than yours, though.
Uh oh. Well, I get,
Mine was good. Apparently, I was a little, I don't know, particular with you
no.
when you
Well,
made the
I mean,
request.
I could tell that you knew your stuff right away. And it was when I was first getting started in the business. And I remember it's so challenging based on what brokerage you're at and where you are to have people allow you to do an open house. And
Yes.
I was just trying to find an open house. Like, nobody, I was just dropped in the river and they said, figure it out, do an open house. And I'm like, well, who do I talk to? How do I do that? And so Heather is one of the very few people that gave me an opportunity early on in my career. And I was forever grateful. But also, it was a gorgeous house. And I was like, one day I'll have listings like this and I'll be like her.
And you do.
And yeah, but it was such a inspiring moment. And it's so funny because, like, we connected and we disconnected and we connected and disconnected, and now here we are some years later, doing lots of things together, especially here at Real Broker. We just taught a class earlier today.
Yep.
I'm excited. Okay,
Yep.
so
We spend a lot of time.
let's talk about the things that people are here for. So the first thing is, what is working for you in your business. You can talk about today, you can talk about the last 6 months or year, but what do you think is really, the crux of your business?
So, my business is really pretty much all repeat clients and referrals from clients and other realtors. That is almost 100% of what my business is because I don't run ads, at least not to generate leads for me. I run them for my listings and stuff, but not to just go find clients.
Well, you said something
So,
that was really interesting in there. You said clients, repeat clients, and then you said other realtors.
yes.
How are you getting business
Yeah,
from
that's a
other
huge.
realtors? How does that work?
Well, so I mean, here in Texas, Texas is kind of big. While we can write contracts anywhere in the state of Texas legally, um, you have to have a an area knowledge and proficiency, and so you shouldn't write contracts anywhere in Texas. So I get referrals from other agents around Texas. I send referrals to other agents around Texas, and also from around the other states too in the U.S. So I've sent stuff to people in Colorado, in Tennessee, Florida, New York. I mean, pretty much everywhere, California. We do referral business back and forth. So instead of just someone going, I don't know, I got to sell my home and I'm just going to like throw a dart and pick a realtor. You find someone like, let me do the research for you. I've formulated a lot of really good friendships with people who are very high quality realtors across the country. And so when I give them my clients' information, I know they're going to be taken care of.
Do you tell your clients that? Do you say, hey, I have this network of realtors? Like, how do you have that conversation with people you've just met?
Pretty much that. Yeah, if you know anyone who's, in another area, or, the conversation comes up, my brother's cousin's moving from so and so, and it's like, oh, well, do they have a realtor already? Because I know people very well from other parts of the country, and I'm happy to make an introduction.
Would you say that that works out well most of the time? Or do you find it
Yeah.
challenging to, you'd say, yeah?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, everyone knows a realtor. You could throw a stick and hit a realtor, right? I mean, there's so many out there. But are they good? Do they know what they're doing? Are they specializing in listings? Are they just doing leases and so they've never done a listing before? And you've got to sell your house and you want to make the most money on it. And the market might be tough where you are, like it is here in Austin. It's been pretty challenging. And so are they just going to wing it? Is that what you want? Is that who you want to hire?
Well,
So yeah, it's worked out well.
I say that because I know that we have some people that might be watching this and they've never done a referral. They don't even know what it is, or they're just getting started in real estate. And so you'll hear this buzzword of referral, but really, like you
Hmm.
said, it's more that you're interviewing and you're making sure that you're connecting these clients that are trusting you with people that you yourself can trust. And so I don't know if y'all have been
Yes.
able to pick this up already, but Heather knows her stuff. She's even a broker associate, which you can see down in her little signature, but she's been doing this for a while, and she's one of those people that everyone who runs into her in real estate, I got to be careful the way I say this, in real estate, respects her level of knowledge and the things that she does. And so you want that in a partnership. You want people to say, oh, no, 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 this person is no nonsense and able to get the job done. And you've even branded
Yeah.
yourself that way, right?
Well, I didn't actually brand myself that way. One of the higher ups at the company did that for
I
me.
mean, that
She's known me a very long
that
time.
tells a lot, right? The fact that you're
Yeah.
just no nonsense. So, do you think that you can build a full business off of referrals, or do you need to reach out to like past clients? Like, what's your business mix? Like, what's working the best?
So it's kind of interesting. I mean, I what I do and what works for me now is not what I would recommend for everybody.
Okay,
And I certainly didn't start my business this way. I started my business by making cold calls, door knocking, doing mailers, hosting open houses. I cold called expired and withdrawn listings every day for hours, and that's how I grew my business.
the fun stuff.
So lots of fun.
Well, I
But yeah, it just kind of morphs into where you now have a client base, and now you can focus more on loving your clients, and then the referrals come as long as you do a good job. I mean, that's part of it. You need to do a good job for them, otherwise they're not going to refer you.
I get a lot of questions where people ask like, how do I build my business? And it's so funny because the way you built your business is similar to how I originally built my business as well. Like sometimes you
Hmm.
have to get into the trenches and understand how people are thinking, the questions that they're asking, and then just literally having conversations with people.
Yes.
It's such a misnomer, in my opinion, that you can have people reach out to you without doing any work and you close them when you have no knowledge of how the process works yourself, or you haven't
Right.
gone through some of the trenches. And again, some people get lucky, but that's not the norm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you definitely need to know what you're doing. I mentor a lot of agents, and one of the first things I tell them to do is learn the contracts, print out the contracts, read them every single day. Because if you know the contracts, it doesn't matter if you're a brand new agent, you are going to know more than most of the agents that you're working against in a transaction.
oh yeah, that's really good. I think that a lot of people think that once you go through real estate school, you're ready to do the job. Legally,
No.
you're allowed to do the job. But if you
Yes.
don't feel that you're ready, then how do you think your clients will feel, or your potential clients will feel, when you're having a conversation? I remember I was taught by a brokerage I was at the time to go get
Mhm.
buyer representation agreements from everybody that you know. Just write down all the names of all the people that you know. Go get buyer representation agreements. I was like, they're not looking for houses. It's like, it doesn't matter. You just got to get them comfortable with knowing that you're a realtor and getting buyer rep agreements. And I thought, I don't like this exercise. It seems stupid. Well, here's
Yeah.
what you learn through an exercise that like that. You learn what people think of you, kind of through the conversation, and then you learn that you don't actually know why you're asking for the things you're asking, and then you have to go and like read, like you said, these contractual obligations to say, why am I asking this person this thing, and what am I telling them I'm going to do for them, and they're
Right.
going to get from me. So
Yep.
it was a
Exactly.
even though I didn't like the activity, it taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Did you ever do I think I can talk about a program because it was independent of the brokerage itself. Did you ever do a bold?
I did it 18 times.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Yep.
for those of you
You can
that do
see
it,
all my like some of the little awards back
oh,
there.
that's so funny. Okay, so for
I
those
was
of you that,
actually one of the first agents in the pilot class. I was the newest agent in the pilot. And actually, if you look up Bold Revolutions, I'm they have video of us in there. So there were 20 of us in the pilot. I was the youngest agent as far as time in business. I'd only been in the business about 3 months. And there were people in there who had been in the business up to 30 years. And so my experience with that, I mean, I almost left the industry because of that. Um,
okay, so without talking much about the brokerage, for those of you that don't know, bold is it's a class that a brokerage put on that basically forced you to infiltrate and learn a lot of the things that we're talking about as far as meeting people. Like, it put you in
right,
uncomfortable situations. There were scripts, there were expireds, cold calling, all that sort of stuff. But also, how can you talk to X amount of people a day? And then they had homework every week. I think it was a really good class. Again, specifically to teach you the lessons on. It actually taught you a lot about yourself, the things that you
oh yeah,
could do and wouldn't do. So tell me a little bit about how that
definitely
went,
push you
because
outside your comfort zone for sure.
it does. So you've
Yeah.
done the bold 100s.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So
That was kind of hard.
so tell me about it. Tell me a little bit about it, for like, so people, maybe not everybody knows what a bold is. And it doesn't matter what brokerage you're at, the concepts still apply.
Yeah. So it stood for Business Objective, a Life by Design, and I'm pretty sure they still teach the class. It might have
Oh,
morphed since I started taking it many many years ago, but it basically taught you concepts on here are the things that you need to do every day in order to generate the business so that you can have a grand, healthy, thriving business, right? And so it pushed you outside of your comfort zone and it taught how to think about things differently, right? So I think one of the biggest takeaways for me was think of it like exercising. You don't get into working out and go to the gym and lift do bicep curls with 60-pound weights on day one, right? For some of us, you start with like 5 or 10 pound weights, and then you build up as you build muscle. Well, the same thing goes with the business. You don't jump in and you feel comfortable and knowledgeable about everything all at once. You need to build up and build towards a set goal, right? Like the Bold 100 was making your 100 contacts in a week. So actually,
it
it might have been in a day.
it was in a
I
day.
can't remember if this was it a day. Yeah.
It was in a day.
It was insane. So
The
it
way
was
I did a
insane.
bold 100 was standing at the outlet mall and talking to people that were walking by, asking them if I could talk, just get 5 minutes of their time to talk about real estate. And it was around Christmas time. And so
Yep.
I think I had a little handout with like a poem that I had written. It's kind of weird, but it forced me to get out of my comfort zone and talk to random strangers. And the whole point of that is it couldn't just be a random conversation. It had to be a
It'll be
conversation
about real estate.
about real estate.
Yes.
And so the reason why this is important is because I know we've talked about this. I had a team for a while with a partner, and we had a good amount of agents on the team. And I remember so many people when we were interviewing for agents on the team were saying, will you give me leads? What would happen is agents that didn't understand like the foundational things, they would get leads, whether they paid for them or they were gifted or whatever, and then still not know what to do with them.
Right.
Every single person you have a conversation with, pardon me, can be a lead in some format or function. It could
Yes.
be a referral, it could be a friend of a friend, right? It could be a contractor, it could be something that is a benefit to your business, even if it's just a sounding board, right? So
Standing in line
everybody,
at a grocery store, sitting in a waiting room at a doctor's office. I
yes,
mean, there you can you can find people, everyone's interested in real estate.
yep.
Everyone's interested in what's going on in the market, whether they're looking to buy for the first time, whether, they just had a baby and the house they're in might not be the right size, or, they've got an aging parent and they're not quite sure what to do with mom and dad's house. I mean, there's so many different things. They move for a job. It doesn't matter what the scenario is, just about everyone out there has some question about real estate. So it's really easy to have those conversations.
There's also people like you can learn a lot from people that say they're not interested in real estate. Like I've had friends growing up that say, "Oh, I don't want to buy a house. I don't want to be tied down." And so just hearing the rhetoric of people gives you insight to the way people think and helps you have a better
Right.
conversation about it, right?
Yep.
So all that I think is extremely valuable for agents to learn, and it seems like it's done your business pretty well so far.
Yeah, I had to learn how to get out and be a little more sociable because coming from my background, there was no socializing with human beings.
And
So it was,
and this is without I'm going to put you on the spot here. This is without doing
oh,
videos.
yes. Yeah, I still don't do those.
Well, and it's funny because you have the propensity to make incredible videos, but you don't have to, and your business is thriving. And a lot of people they want to build business and they don't want to do videos. So for people
Right.
that are trying to build their business, what do you think? What would you suggest if they're getting started today in their market?
Mhm.
Let's say they're less than a year in and they don't have anyone in their pipeline. What do you think they should do?
There's a lot of things. So one, let everyone know that you have gone into real estate. Like send out, how when you do an announcement, like anniversary or baby or whatever, it's you're having a birthday party, you send out an announcement. Send out an announcement to everybody you know. Handwrite, you've got the time, you don't have any clients right now, so go ahead and handwrite
True.
everything, send it out to everybody, make it real formal. Um, and just let them know I'm in real estate. I'm really excited about this. And, if you have any questions, please give me a call, just let people know. So that's one thing that I tell everyone to do. You can do that with a handwritten card. You can also send an email to everybody because you want to start building your database anyway. So have all those people in your database. Go out and start meeting lenders, start meeting title reps. Go and interact with other agents. Go to trainings where you're going to meet agents from other areas. So if there's a training in Dallas, drive your happy butt up to Dallas because those agents are going to need to refer people. They have people moving to the Austin area, right? So if you're in Austin, go drive somewhere else for a training. Don't just sit around here. Go meet people elsewhere, right? Get into go online at your brokerage if you've got online like we've got Work Vivo at Real, and so go in and start introducing yourself to people at other locations. Get on the trainings because we do it by just like this, like with Zoom, and you get to start seeing people. You get a connection, pick up the phone. Hey, how you doing? I just started at Real in Austin. Blah blah blah. Start making connections with people. Go door knock in your neighborhood.
Ooh, that's a good one. Nobody's gonna do
Yeah.
it though.
No, nobody likes to door knock for some reason. Um, I got a lot of, I mean, people knew me when I don't live in a neighborhood anymore, so I can't really door knock here. But when I lived in a neighborhood, that's when I started my business. That's what I did is I went around and I door knocked and got to meet people.
You can still door knock in a nearby neighborhood. You can door knock in a neighborhood that you're interested in doing business in.
Correct.
You can
Yeah.
partner with a lender and maybe door knock their neighborhood. There's so
Right.
many ways you can do that. You could digital door knock. That's a whole other conversation for another day,
Hmm.
but you can do that.
Yeah,
Do you think
absolutely.
that real estate is different today than it? Well, I think I know the answer.
Yes,
I think I know the answer is that.
of course.
Do you still think these things are effective today? I guess is the question.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Um, I think there's a lot that's changed, and I actually think that getting clients today is probably a lot easier than it was when I started in real estate because of social media.
Mm-hmm.
You can reach a whole lot more people much more rapidly through social media than what I had available when I started in real estate.
Well, and also
So,
even like the MLSs and
yes.
GPS for crying out loud, all of these.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we still had the books, the Mapsco books
Oh my
when I
gosh.
started. Yeah, that was no fun. Trying to drive while you're flipping through the Mapsco book,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think things have changed. I know, this last year put a big change in the industry for a lot of people, and I know a lot of people are kind of concerned about that. And I actually love the changes.
I,
I find them
I do
wonderful.
want to take a
But
moment to talk about that because you had a panel a couple months back where you were talking about this about the changes from where it was. Well, I'll let you explain it, but the changes from the pre NAR settlement to let's say today. So can you
mhm.
kind of explain what the differences are in the eyes of the consumer, and then how you handle that
Yeah,
conversation?
so I mean, basically, the media propagandize the entire scenario, right? So, truth be told, I don't see a functional difference in pre and post settlement. I really don't. I haven't seen a huge change, and I don't think that it's going to change very much unless the market flips, on its head again and we have a 2021 all over again.
So
Um,
what we were seeing the media say was buyers agents buyers would have to pay their agents is essentially what the
right,
media was saying. And there was even
right.
a moment where the president said, and now buyers will save like $10,000 of commission when they're buying a house, which obviously isn't true, but that's what was
No,
being said. And the media
right.
ran with that like crazy. And so
They did.
what was actually happening is for forever, buyer compensation has always been negotiable and seller
Yes.
compensation has always been negotiable. And there was just almost this assumption by many agents, by many brokerages, by many people having the conversation that the sellers would cover or absorb the cost of compensation for the buyer. Okay. And so when people heard, oh, well, buyer compensation will no longer be covered by the seller, that's what was being peddled. Everybody thought, oh, we're not going to have buyer's agents anymore. So that's
Well,
what was being
so
shared.
what's interesting about that is we went through all of this in the 90s, right? So there used to not be buyer representation. And guess what? Buyers didn't like that because what that meant was that every realtor they came across worked for the seller and the buyers had zero help.
Well,
Like everything they told a realtor went right back to the seller and was used to negotiate against them. Well, buyers were like, wait a minute, I want representation. I don't want to have to learn how to do all this stuff myself. And so they came up with buyer's representation.
well, and this history is important, but how many agents have had their license in the last, let's say, 4 years because they relocated to a place? They said the markets are booming. Let me get my real estate license, and didn't look back at the history of all this having
Right.
happened prior.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Most, I would say
Yeah.
most. And so
Most. Yeah.
today, how do you handle that conversation if it comes up? Let's say from a seller
As
or
far
a buyer.
if I'm representing a seller,
Yeah.
okay. So basically, I mean, the conversation's pretty easy. And again, I think it varies depending on the market that you're in. But in our market right now, it's kind of a level market. It feels soft, but it's not. It's just very, sustainable is what I would call it. Um, and so, I tell people it's like, compensation has always been negotiable. And how I write up the contracts, and I think how our brokerage has decided to write up the contracts, is that we will discuss our compensation for the work that I do for my seller, and that's what's going in my listing agreement. Now, at the same time, we'll talk about, do you want to offer compensation to the buyers to open up your buyer pool? And we'll have the conversation about, well, what does that look like? Well, they'll basically just write in to their purchase contract a line item that says, okay, as part of the fees, or as part of, concessions that you're offering, if any, I want you to pay for the buy side commission. And that's negotiable. It's a negotiable term, just like who's going to pay for title policy. Is there going to be a home warranty offered, right? Who's paying for survey? All of that stuff's negotiable, and it's the same thing now, where there's a line item for the buy side commission. Now, here's what it comes down to, and this is what I tell my sellers. In this type of market, and again, it's going to change depending on the market, but in this type of market, whether you agree to pay the buyer's commission flat out in the contract, or you say, no, I'm not doing that, and then they come back and they lower their offer price by the amount of the buy side commission, it all comes out in the wash. It's going to be the same. You're either going to pay it off the top by the offer price, or you're going to pay it by them saying, I want you to pay the commission. That's our market. That's how it's going right now, because buyers have choice. They can go somewhere else and buy another house.
You put it so eloquently. You said to open up the buyer pool.
Yes.
Right. And that's our plan as marketers of property, is to get as many buyers exposed to this property as possible. And so why not recruit essentially other agents to help showcase these properties that we're listing?
Well, I mean, it just makes sense, because in this type of market right now, I mean, with interest rates as high as they are, sellers are offering concessions to help buy down the rate so that buyers can afford their home. That's opening up your pool of buyers, right?
Yep.
To get more people who can actually afford your home. So, with the same train of thought, those same buyers can't afford to pay a buy side commission. And let me tell you, you don't want people coming and working with your listing agent, because the potential legal ramifications of that, if they say in the future, well, I thought I was being represented.
Oh yeah.
That's not what you want.
Yeah. If you're
That lawsuit's going to cost a whole lot more than that commission.
if you're a newer agent, or you've never dealt with that, and this is going to depend on the state you're in, the brokerage you're working with, all that sort of stuff. But in Texas, it's called an intermediary.
Yeah.
It is not easy.
Dual agency.
Or dual agency. Sorry. It is not
Yeah.
easy to do this well. It's not, I'm almost going to say it's not possible to do it effectively and honestly and ethically. So if you're in that situation, not intermediary, dual agency. But if you're in that situation and you have, listing, and the seller says, I want you to handle both sides, that's going to be a problem. It's better to refer it out or to do something to that effect than to try to deal with it on your own. Because a lot of people hear that and they think, ding, 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 I'm going to make double the money. But like Heather said, that could be one of those things that comes back to bite you real hard. And your
Well, that doesn't work now anyway, with the way the listing agreements and buyer's rep agreements are written. So
you can't do it anyway.
Yeah, can't do it anyway. I mean, you can do intermediary, but you're not making any more money.
Got it. Yes.
Yeah.
Because the seller is paying the buyer directly.
The buy side commission directly.
The buy side commission directly.
And you have to have a written buyer's representation agreement in order to get paid any buy side commission, and you've already written your listing agreement with your commission in it at a set price. So,
which before, the way it was written, it was generally the broker getting paid by the seller and deciding what to pay the buyer side commission or the buyer side broker. Yeah. So while we're on this subject, we're talking about the NAR thing, how it's changed. There's another thing I wanted to talk about. It's collecting, I guess it's a little different. It's collecting information for your clients, people that you meet at open houses, people that you're building relationships with, all that sort of stuff. We had a class earlier today on a platform called Lofty. The reason why I wanted to transition to this is because you have things that have worked for you in the past, things that will work for you today. And despite what's going on with the NAR and all that sort of stuff, at the end of the day, our job is to just have as many conversations about real estate as we can on behalf of our sellers around the properties that we're trying to sell or on behalf of our buyers. And so
Right.
Lofty is a program that we use here at our brokerage, Real Broker, that allows us to gather the names. We refer to this as our database, but it stands for Client Relationship Management. So this is our CRM. A lot of agents, it actually surprises me how many agents don't use a CRM today. It's
Yeah.
mind boggling. And so to be able to keep track of everything that's going on in your world as you start building a pipeline and making these relationships and connections, having a CRM like this is really valuable. And so, uh, while Heather was teaching a class earlier today, which I'll make sure to link in the description below or maybe up here somewhere like that for the full class, Heather, can you talk about maybe just one thing in Lofty that you went over today that you think would be really beneficial for people that aren't currently using it or people
Yeah,
that
so
are?
basically you can use it, you can do what I was talking about today on just about any type of
Yeah.
CRM that is tied to your social media, right? So Lofty has a really nice aspect of it where your website is part of the CRM.
Hmm.
It's got the website and the CRM portions, and they're linked. So you can actually have a blog page, and we were talking about RSS feeds for different. Go ahead.
What's so cool about that is you said Lofty has a website built into the CRM. A lot of
Yep.
a lot of them don't. Like if you're on,
Correct.
I'm going to use Zillow as an example, you don't get a website. You don't get your own website.
No.
Zillow's the website, and then they can go to you and you keep track of their names. Follow Up Boss, it wasn't a website. It was just a CRM. Lion Desk.
Yes.
So there are a lot of CRMs that are not also websites. And so that's where one thing that Lofty does well. I'm going to pull up your website so we can showcase what you were referring to.
Okay.
This right here.
So basically, one of the things that I was talking about is we've got a blog site that we can go to, and on the back end, we can actually do posts to our social media of these blogs to help drive people back to our website. So we're providing good information that people, the consumer, wants to know about, and it's leading them back to our website, which, the hope is that they will find you a useful source of information and then sign up on your website or reach out to you for information.
So I just want to kind of succinctly summarize this for people who are just coming in right now. This article is posted on your website, your real estate website, but you didn't write it. And it
Nope.
was automatically posted, essentially automatically posted from another author that wrote this.
Correct.
And so it still drives users to your website. And so if you share this blog or share your website, people are getting important information, relevant information to their lives on your site, and you didn't write it.
I didn't write it. Nope.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. So
So there's a lot of things that you can do with Lofty, and so I was just showing agents, that use this system, different ways that they can help grow their business, in a very easy way, to where you don't have to put in a whole lot of effort. Because as you get busier, automation and being able to schedule things out in advance becomes really important.
And I love this because you were talking about how, oh, I don't do videos. I still, I built this business off of referrals and clients, but this is still incredible. And it's very modern. This is a trending thing. You should have consistency and automation in your business. And so this is a perfect example of that for somebody who's been doing this for a little while and being successful at it. You're still learning and growing and implementing new things that work well. I love it.
Right.
So once again, if you're
Yes.
interested in this and you want to see more on the class that Heather went over that shows you exactly how to do that, I'll make sure to put that description below. Heather, do you have anything else that you think is important for people to know either about you or your process or something that can help them be better at their jobs?
So you just set that up. So many things I could talk about now. Yeah, I think the biggest thing, if you want to be successful in this business, you really do need to have proficiency in this business. Um, it has nothing to do with full time or part time. You just need to really hone your skills. The worst thing that you can do for your clients is be that agent who doesn't know what they're doing, because you're going to come up against an agent like me or Ian, and then we will wipe the floors with you in a nice way. But our clients will definitely benefit because you don't know what you're doing. And that's not fair to your clients, and that's not going to earn you good business in the future. So being proficient in the business of all aspects of it is really important.
I would say to me that's so crucial, so vital, because think about it. If you don't do a good job on behalf of your clients, do you think they're going to give repeat business or referrals to you just
No,
because you have been a friend for 10 years and they know that you're in real estate?
no, it'll ruin your friendship.
That's what exactly
It'll
that's what
definitely
it'll
do.
do.
Yes,
That's
it'll
what it'll
ruin your
do.
friendship. But the other thing to know is that this industry, while there are a lot of agents out there, there's not a lot of agents actually doing business out there. And we get to know each other, and your reputation will follow you. So if you do something shady, or you don't do something well, or you show up and you're completely unskilled, that reputation will follow you. So you might not win out on the next deal when we're in multiple offers again, because we will be.
Yep.
But you get your offer submitted and people are like, "Oh, seen that person before.
Yep.
Not going to do business with that person." So, yeah, you really want to do your job well. So, always be learning.
Always be learning. That was always be closing.
No, always be learning.
Always be.
The
I actually
closings will come.
that's so much better. You're right. The closings will come. Well,
Yeah.
do you have if somebody wanted to reach out to you, how do you recommend they do that?
Probably just message me on Instagram would be
Okay.
the easiest. I'm Heather Witt Realtor.
I'll make sure to put that in the description below and maybe even like across the screen right here. So, Heather, thank you so much for coming to the Trending Podcast and being able to share some insights that I think will be valuable for people is getting into the business that have been in the business for a while and just want a little bit of shake up on things for 2025.
Thanks for having me.
See ya.